Episode 69 of the Beefy Boys Breakdown. ... Nice. First, we got to get to Yanez. What up, G, baby? We got to get to Yanez, Davey Grant. I think they stole the show. Granted, that's what Yanez does, right? I mean, just one of the highest rising, most exciting guys.
What up, man? What up, bro? We're back at it here on episode what?
69.
Nice here on Beefy Boys Breakdown. I said we gotta get to the show stealer, man. Mr. Steal Your Show, Adrian Yanez himself.
Do not let your show go out with him, or he is going home with him.
He's going home. Don't let your show around him. But no, seriously, man. And we've both been high on Yanez, right? We both enjoy watching a Yanez fight as much as the next guy. Like, have we not been hyping him enough? Like, does there?
I think we've hyped him a bunch. And we're right on point with it.
Yeah, fair. But I'm talking about if this motherfucker had pink hair, would he be bigger than O'Malley? Like a pink
Perhaps,
hair
especially because the way he fights. Like, his boxing is so slick, man. Like, the way he shoulder rolls. So many of Davey Grant's shots were hitting his shoulder, like on hooks. Because Adrian Yanez just shielded his face with his whole shoulder. Beautiful boxing. Yeah. And then I do have to say this for Yanez. In all of his matchups where he's looked not even so great, because against Randy Costa, he lost the first round horribly and then came back and won that second round it won the whole fight in brilliant fashion. But more to the point is that he's a warrior, and also he gets opponents that are super game to have those kinds of fights.
Oh, yeah. The matchmakers have done a phenomenal job with Yanez. And it will be interesting once he if Yanez ever makes his way up to fight a guy like a Davavishvili, like a grinder wrestler type. I mean, that could definitely be trouble for a guy like Yanez. But it's important to be said that it hasn't been proven that he can't stop it. You know what I mean? It's and I'm sure we'll find out eventually.
And Davey Grant's a pretty qualified grappler in his own right.
Oh, yeah, and Davey Grant was the perfect step up. I literally love how they're building Yanez. I love how they're matchmaking him. I mean, granted, Yanez has been close to a minus 300 favorite in almost all of his past 3-4 fights, but I think that's just credit to Yanez. I don't think they're feeding him cans. Costa's not a can. Grant's not a can.
Well, and to his credit, Contender Series, he gets a 40-second KO victory to get into the UFC. Then he wins his first 3 fights by KO. And now he gets this fight, which is obviously a good step up in competition and a great style step up, too, because it's a guy that's super well-rounded.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. All respect to Davey Grant. He showed everybody that, he was trying to steal the show from Mr. Steal Your Show. You know what I'm saying? And,
absolutely. And honestly, his leg kicks in the first round were doing some damage, I thought, Davey Grant's.
Well, and just how much longer Davey Grant was. Now, granted, Davey Grant's a long bantamweight, but and Yanez is kind of a stumpier bantamweight. So there's them two next to each other. It was the reach, whatever it was on paper. In real life, it seemed more as far as the reach and the length advantage, especially with how Grant was using with his kicks, right? Exaggerates that advantage.
Well, this is probably overplayed, but I thought Yanez's striking defense was reminiscent of Anderson Silva in the way that he could move his head off of a strike and it would look like he was eating the strike, but in reality he was just kind of taking the edge of it and never really taking full shots.
Yeah. No, Yanez is crazy. He opened up a whole other side of a very played out debate, which is the whole best boxer in the UFC debate. We've taken part in it. It's the usual suspects. It's your Connors. It's your Holloways.
Israel.
It's your Adesanyas. As far as it's the Rob Fonts, who's the best boxing, but we've all been kind of having a one-sided debate. That'd be like giving the basketball MVP to the scoring champion every year. We've kind of only been looking at it offensively. Defensive boxing, Yanez may be like the Tony Allen, the defensive guru of defensive boxing. I mean, offensive too. I mean, the guy stacks KO. So I mean,
but honestly, guy. a lot of them are counter rights. 2 of them are just straight counter rights off of shots he dodges or lightly breezes by.
Which the defense sets up the offense. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. It's in football interception, give your team the ball on the inside the red zone. You know, you're setting yourself up for success, even though it started with the defense. And yeah, man. I mean, we got to give Davey Grant his due. I mean, we love jerking off Adrian Yanez. Who doesn't? We love jerking off unranked bantamweights as a whole. Which, goddamn it, just as these two
How
guys
deep?
feel more unranked. Like, I literally want to see. I would have a pay-per-view. I would pay $70. I shit you not. Maybe I'm a sucker.
For a
I pay
bantamweight tournament?
unranked bantamweight tournament. I'll take it a step further.
Wow.
I'll take it a step further. I'm a seller's dream. All unranked bantamweights.
Just put O'Malley as the headliner?
O'Malley O'Malley, Yanez. I mean, he's getting there. But yeah, seriously, unranked bantamweights would be the funnest weekend. You could spread it out over a weekend.
O'Malley Yanez would be such a fun fight, by the way. Such a fun fight.
We'll get there. We
So how
that cart before that horse. How'd you score
the first round?
So I scored round 1 to Yanez.
I did as well.
Yeah. It was cool because round 1 looked like when you close your head and you think of an Adrian Yanez fight and you think of those counters. That's what round 1 was. I mean, there was the leg kicks from Davey Grant, and just good volume in general from Davey Grant. Like,
for sure.
From jump, Davey Grant was throwing more at Yanez than anybody had thrown at him. From both just like a technique, a pressure, a volume standpoint, the length matchup. So he was like, from jump, he was giving Yanez more than he had ever experienced in the UFC. It was making it competitive. But that round, man, it was just those classic Yanez counters. Just like when you close your eyes and you visualize like that, it's almost like a shot motion of an NBA player. You can close your eyes and you can like think about how that release looks, that flick looks. Like I'm starting to get there with like Yanez counters. Like, seriously. But yeah, man, like I said, if you want to make the argument for Grant round 1 with the kicks and the volume, but Yanez, man, was just landing those just insanely dangerous counter punches that was enough for me to give round 1 to Yanez.
For me as well. Now in the second round, Grant tried for the takedown right after he got eye poked. Did he poke Yanez? No, he got eye poked.
Well, the eye poke was to Yanez.
Yeah, to Yanez. I'm sorry. Yeah.
But Herb Dean did his bullshit, half-ass hesitating.
Like, are you good? Are you good? And Yanez is like, bro, like, are you gonna stop it or not? Like, I can't just stop the fight. Like, you're the ref.
It's horrible. It's every time Herb Dean's out there, he's so undecisive and puts everybody in danger.
He did not get the main event tonight, which I thought was telling.
Good. Yeah. Fuck giving him main events. I'm out. But you know what? So my takeaway from round 2 was, and I always use these words: war, close, banger. A word that I don't often use, but maybe should use more often. But this fight just made me use a different word to describe it. It was fun. Round 2 was so fucking fun to watch. It was a fun round.
Super close, I thought, back and forth too.
I liked Grant in round 2. I liked Grant. That knee he landed was serious. Like, it was like, I was legit. Like, I was obviously like, there's not many fighters I like cheer for at this point when I'm watching them fight. I was cheering for Yanez. Like, I'm a Yanez guy. I like Yanez.
Me too, honestly.
So I mean, whenever Yanez like ate that knee, was like one of the first times. Now, granted, Yanez has been hurt and eating some big shots, but that was probably the most worried I've ever been for Yanez, like getting finished, was when he ate that knee from Grant in the second round. That was gnarly. And just in general, I thought, and this is crazy to say against a guy like Yanez who lands incredibly hard in his own right, I thought Grant was landing the hardest shots in round 2, which I think is tough to say.
That's what I really went off of, or at least how I saw round 2 as well, was that Davey Grant was landing harder shots somehow in round 2. Now, granted, I will say Yanez, once again, does a good job of making the super hard shots. He doesn't eat the full brunt of most of them. Now, there were a couple that really clipped him, and the knee was huge. Yeah,
the knee was big. Yeah, there was no getting around the knee. I thought Yanez was also, like, kind of deviating from, like, the crispness in round 2. Like, that's not to take away from Davey Grant. And I mean, it pretty much is, though. I'm not saying that, like, Yanez was giving it to him. But, like, you see, is it fair to say that Yanez probably fought a less heady fight in round 2 than he did in rounds 1 or 3? And that was just – or do you think that, like, Grant, like, just was better and it made it look that way? I thought that, like, Yanez
I thought Yanez Yeah, I thought Yanez fought Davey Grant's fight. I
Yeah,
thought he was trying to like set up like a huge counter in the show and really like try and set up for a big finish, that like he would make work. And like, to be quite honest, he would have been better off just like keeping in his patterns and rhythm, and probably would have found that shot through doing that rather than trying to hunt for it.
yeah, fair. So did you have round 2 for Grant?
Yes, I did. Now, granted, I thought it was a great round
It
still.
was. Of course it was. Yeah, it was badass. This whole fight was so much fun. I mean, each man got 50 grand. This was the fight of the night. But man, round 3, and that's why I said that round 2, Yanez was kind of deviating from the game plan, fighting a less heady fight, a less cerebral fight. Because in round 3, he fucking tightened up the strings on that guitar, man. He fucking just got back to basics, back to crisp. That's why I say he got away from it in 2, because he demonstrated in round 3 his ability. If he wanted to go back to it, he could, and he did, and it was smart that he did. Because round 3 reminded me a lot of round 1. Like visually, round 1 and round 3 looked way more alike. Round 2 was kind of the anomaly. It looked different.
I felt like he turned the striking defense back on in round 3 and really just was shoulder rolling, moving with the punches, controlling the space, and countering super hard. And like you said, like round 1 and 3 were super similar, whereas round 2 was more of a war.
And the jab was nuts.
He's just dude. There was one time he threw a triple jab and just bop bop bop, like hit all 3. I was like, oh man.
Like literally, it was to the point it almost looked like a video game. You ever played those old Fight Night video games? Actually, I think they're just making a new one where like the kind of like bloody mist will come off whenever you land a punch. That was happening because Davey Grant's nose was a fucking mess. It was nuts. A lot of fucked up noses last night. That was kind of the theme too. But every time Yanez, like you said, that time he landed that triple jab, it looked like a little fireworks. This little pop, 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 just red mist. Like he was lighting that nose up. It was. Round 3 was a clinic. Probably even more of like a clinic than round 1. Round 1 was still kind of a war.
I agree with that.
That's why I'm saying Giannis tightened her up. I bet his coach told him to tighten it up. He essentially is the coach now. I think some sad story happened at that gym, but he just tightened it up. I'm gonna have a guitar, man. It was out of tune in round 2, and he just tightened it up in round 3. Tightened. It looked so crisp and just tight. Dare I say perfect in round 3? I mean, for as competitive as round 1 and 2 was, round 3 was just crisp from Yanez.
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely scored it to Yanez. I had it 29-28 Yanez. Sounds like you did as well.
Yes.
Now, oddly enough, one judge had it 30-27 Grant, and that was the first score that Bruce Buffer read. And Grant acted like that was some sort of highway robbery, that he lost the fight. And I was really confused by all of those things.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Grant, I don't hold anything against him. He had a lot of success. You're in the moment. Hey, whatever. Feel how you're going to feel if you're the fighter. But as far as like the judge that gave that scorecard and anybody attempting to defend it, which I didn't see really any of that. Everybody was kind of up in arms over it. Yeah, I mean, round 1 was competitive, and I think Grant may have even won the striking numbers, maybe in round 1. I could be wrong on that, but it was close, and Grant was kind of coming with a volume approach. Devil's advocate argument, I guess, roundabout way could be made. We both gave round 2 to Grant. I don't see it as snowflake's chance in hell how you give Grant round 3. And I
don't either.
Being generous. Like, I just gave Grant every bit of benefit of the doubt to get him to 2 rounds to nothing. But even in the best case scenario in opposite world land, there's no way he wins fucking round 3 in a decision at all. Like, he didn't do a goddamn thing successful in round 3. Not that I can remember.
Yeah, I don't know what that judge was thinking. And let's see what judge that was, just to put him out there. I think they should suffer that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Put his name out there. Put your name on it.
Let's see. It would be Tony Weeks.
Tony Weeks. Shame on you, Tony Weeks. Tony Reeks is what we should call him. But as soon as this fight ended, I was thinking in my head, like, man, we got to get O'Malley and Yanez together. First, like, my knee-jerk reaction was that. Like, I went straight to that. Granted, I do that all the time, like I said. But, and then O'Malley got on Twitter and started talking about it. Yanez was talking about O'Malley in the post-fight. Not the post-fight, but in, like, the after one. The press conference. And, man, that's gaining some steam, and I am here for that. I am here for Yanez O'Malley. You could always make the argument that, save it down the line when they're higher ranked and it's a bigger fight. But and a lot of times I take that approach myself with certain guys. I think right now they're both at a point that even whoever loses doesn't really like lose much steam. I think they both win. It's a win-win. I mean, I understand why O'Malley wouldn't want it. It definitely kind of benefits Yanez more than O'Malley. But O'Malley was on Twitter calling him out. Yanez was accepting it. O'Malley's booked against Paiva.
It'd be a super fun fight if he gets past Ali and Paiva, and I don't know if the UFC will do it because just like selling the fight wise, I know it'll sell well, but I think they like to give O'Malley cans because he sells without having to have a great matchup, and they want to probably keep that steam rolling.